I'm Jeanette LeBlanc with the Heavy Press. Now, why don't you tell me, I guess everyone just wants to know who you are. No one cares about me. Who are you? What do you do?
I'm Mark. I play guitar in Periphery.
Awesome. So we're on the This Is Personal tour right now. You guys are at the Toronto stop.
This time it's personal. It's called Periphery. This tour is personal.
Okay. So now what I want to know is, obviously, you've been spending a lot of time with not only your band, but some of these other bands. So what are some interesting, more personal things that you've gotten to learn about some of these bands, or just some cool stuff about them?
This is an interesting question. Okay, so personal things. We can't get too personal. Let's see.
Embarrass somebody.
I will try.
Some dirt.
Yeah. So we're on tour with three bands right now. We're on tour with Born of Osiris, Dead Letter Circus, and 12 Foot Ninja. Two of those bands are from Australia. And I guess personal things I learned. This is the first time we've ever really toured extensively with an Australian band, and two of them are from Australia. So I don't know. It's cool. We've learned a lot of Australian types of lingo and like things about their culture that are pretty eye-opening, and they can party too. Australian bands really know how to have fun, and yeah, they're very worldly, well-traveled people. Lots of fun. It's been great, and yeah, I don't know. This is a very sort of tight-knit tour, and it's a very cliche thing to say, but. Yeah, we feel like there's a lot of similarities between us, in terms of personalities and people and everything.
And
so
you're all here for the same reason, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So now you guys have toured all over the world. Like you said, these guys are from Australia. You guys are from the States. So what are some things that you've noticed, like some differences around the world? Like, do you find that the heavy music scene is different in Australia than Canada, and vice versa? What are some differences that you've noticed?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, the differences range from in terms of how we're perceived to fans and how fans react to us. Like, for instance, here when we play Toronto or Montreal, fans are crazy. They're very evident with the way they feel about their music. For instance, if they love it, they'll show you that they love it. If we go to Germany, if they love it, they won't show you that they love it. They'll sit there and they're sort of nod in approval, but they won't sort of dance around and express their excitement. So it's that sort of thing that we tend to notice the most. But yeah, just levels of animation and levels of excitement in our fans. It's a really big difference that we noticed. And even from just playing a place like Toronto to playing a Vancouver or just different cities within a country, it differs more than you would think. And in the States especially too. It's like you play New York and it's crazy. But then you go a couple miles down the road to like Jersey or something like that. It's just different, It's very rooted in culture, not just topography or whatever, a big city or a small city,
Cool. Yeah. Well, that's good to know. So, also, you guys, we saw Slumber Slaughter at Summer Slaughter, and today I saw you guys have been, getting up close and personal with your fans by doing music lessons. Yeah. So, not only are you teaching them stuff, but I mean, they've got to be teaching you stuff. Like, what have you learned from one-on-one interaction with your fans?
I mean, that's a good question, actually. One of the reasons I do it is to sort of break up the pace of the everyday touring lifestyle, and that's one that can become very monotonous every day if you're not careful. And by being not careful, I mean is not being cognizant of just the routine of like every day you're doing the same exact things in different cities, albeit, but you need to find ways to break up your day and find ways to sort of give yourself new perspective so you can go back to the monotonous things and they have a new freshness, so to speak. So that's a big thing for me, is sort of stepping out of my shoes and getting a chance to talk to others in a teaching and a learning context every day. It keeps my brain active and it keeps my brain thinking. You can get tricked in this lifestyle into thinking that you're using your brain, but you're really not. You're just sort of coasting.
And a routine.
Yeah, routine. And yeah. So for me, it's more about that than anything. Just keeping my mind active and keeping my learning sensors on high alert all the time.
Yeah. So I'm sure that you always have fans. We hear in the crowd screaming out their favorite songs that they want you to play. But I think what I always really want to know is, what the hell's your favorite Periphery song? What one do you like the best? What one kind of means the most to you?
Okay, well, there's a couple different, favorite Periphery song, I don't know. I mean, creatively, the one that I'm most proud of maybe is a track called G, track 4 off of our last album. Just in terms of the way it was brought together, it was very, very unique. Misha wrote the skeleton of the song, and then he and I sort of collaborated on the big epic middle section. I don't know if you know the song, then you know what I'm talking about, but that sort of epic sounding rhythm solo symphonic bit. But yeah, that song, in terms of playing songs live, this tour is the first tour we've ever played the song Masamune, the last song off of the second record. And that song is just really energetic to play live, super, super passionate. And we all love playing that song the most now. It's like we go off, and you can see it too, that we all just sort of hit a next level of enthusiasm when we play that song live.
Awesome. That's so cool. So now, like we were saying about what you have to offer creatively and everything, so 3 guitar players, like you don't see that very often. That's, that's a lot. Yeah. How do you guys find that changes your writing process? What's involved in your writing process with that?
Well, I mean, I think this band adopted the idea of 3 guitarists back in the day because the music was so dense. The way it was written almost called for 3 guitarists because it was so layer intensive. There was parts playing clean guitar parts. There was sort of ambient guitar parts. There were rhythm parts. There were solo bits. So it was sort of all over the map stylistically. And I think because of the type of music it was, we needed 3 guitar players. And now the way we write, it can be, we go through bouts of being super, super prolific. And I think most of the time we are prolific. But I think the real challenge is getting through 6 different opinions, and we're all writers too. That's another thing about our band is we all write, and we all sort of try to compose music when we're not touring. Excuse me. The main challenge in all that is just having the ability to get your opinion across without stepping on other people's toes, or when you do get your toes stepped on, to not recoil or to not. Just to be resilient, what I mean. That's the main point with all of us, with so many opinionated voices in the band. But just don't be afraid to get your toes stepped on is the main thing for every single one of us. Yeah.
Well, it's good. I'm happy it works for you guys. That's awesome. Kind of works. I think you guys are pretty successful, right? You've made it to Toronto, which is, our mayor smokes crack, and we're a big deal. You haven't heard about this?
We should guest listen to the show tonight. Maybe we'll buy some crack.
There's a strip club across the street too, so I'm sure he'd have a great time.
I didn't see that, but I did see that.
Oh, you saw it. Everyone sees it. It's the after party. We'll see you there, right? Yeah. No crack, no strip.
Not going.
Yeah, he already told me he's going. He's on the guest list for that one. So now, if you could be any musician for a day, it could even be one who smokes crack if you really wanted. Any other musician for a day. You know what? You can even pick somebody who's not alive anymore. It really doesn't matter. Who do you think you'd do? Or B, don't do them.
That's a different conversation. That's a different interview. That'll come on later.
At the strip club.
If I could be one musician, I don't know. I want to say somebody like James Hetfield from Metallica or something like that, just to be him for one day, just to see what Metallica rolls like. And I've always idolized that man, but. Yeah, but I kind of want to say someone ridiculous like Justin Timberlake, just to see how that dude rolls. Like yes, or Usher or something like that. Just to see, even though the musical style is completely different, I want to see what it's like to be Usher for a day. I want to that would be my real answer. Yeah. Justin Timberlake probably.
Have you met James Hetfield before?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, what was he like?
We toured with them. It was 7 dates really. It was in Australia for the Soundwave Festival tour.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we played Soundwave. Yeah, so Metallica headlined, and they threw a barbecue the first night for all the bands.
Oh,
yeah, and we didn't really know what to expect. We were like, okay, that's a Metallica barbecue. Are they going to be there? They're not going to actually be there. It's like going to be a Metallica logo on the grill, and then it's a Metallica barbecue. But we showed up, and I walk in, and I'm like, shit, there's Lars, shit, there's Kirk Hammett, and then the night goes on, and James Hetfield is there. I'm like, God damn, this James Hetfield. It's like, what am I gonna do? What do I say? I have to say something, but I can't be cool.
And that's, you always end up saying the same thing, right? Oh man, I love your music.
Yeah.
Or, it sucks when you meet someone and you don't know what to say.
Yeah,
right?
and what do I have in common with him?
Yeah.
What am I gonna say? God. I don't even know what to say.
I know.
So what I did was I had a couple glasses of wine, and I got, yeah, it's funny because Adam D from Killswitch Engage too.
Oh, yeah.
He was there, and we both were in the same boat. He'd never met him, I'd never met him, and we both wanted to freaking punish him so bad. And we both mustered up enough courage after enough alcohol to actually talk to him. So.
That's badass.
Yeah.
So what were your famous words then? What came out?
I made him laugh, believe it or not. Yeah, I told him a joke. I asked him, I was like, how long are you guys playing tomorrow? And he was like, about 2 hours. And I was like, really? I heard you guys were playing a long set. And he was like, what do you mean? It's like, yeah, 7.5 hour set. I heard you. And he was like, what? I was like, yeah, I heard you guys were doing live songwriting on stage. So that made him laugh.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
My claim to fame.
Your claim to fame. That's cool. That's pretty
James
badass.
had to laugh.
Made him laugh. Yeah, I probably wouldn't. I would be the one who's like, oh my God, will you sign my boobs or something? Like, I'm joking, joking. Save that for the stripper.
The same thing too, but 7 glasses of wine deep, I can be a little bit more.
Get that confidence in there. Now, so I'm really curious with your music lessons and stuff, I'm sure you give out tons of advice to all your fans. So what real advice would you give an aspiring musician who's out there trying to make it big, trying to get invited to James Hetfield's barbecue? What does it really take to do this music thing?
I guess, be resilient and aspire to no end, but also temper it with realistic expectations. Be rude. Have your feet in both sort of pools. Because I see a lot of artists who have all the ambition and the aspirations that you need, because you have to have all of that. But at the same time, there's no direction or there's no sort of thought that, hey, it may not work out, so I may want to have a backup plan. And that's how I've always worked in my life, is like I always have to have some sort of plan B in my head, and that sort of keeps both, like each foot in both pools, so to speak. So I don't know, it's have all your ambitions and all your aspirations, but temper it to an extent. Keep it humble, keep it modest, so you know how to do it with the sort of logical engine behind that part of your brain. You don't ever want to have just one of each. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah.
And this is the final question. What's next for you guys? We've got this tour right now with Dead Letter Circus. Can we expect new music videos, new albums, anything exciting you want us to know about, or that we're not supposed to know about, but you can tell us on there?
I can hint at stuff,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah. So after this tour is done, we have a run in the Far East in February. We're going to like Australia and Japan and some other places that I can't talk about yet, but I'm sure by the time this comes out, it'll be public. And we also have a super secret thing coming out soon. We can't talk about just yet, but maybe by the time this is online, you'll know about it. So you'll see. I can't talk about it right now. I'll get in big trouble.
Politics.
Yeah.
Politics. It's brutal.
Yeah, it's not our new record, which we've been hinting at for about a year now. It's a different sort of foray off of another beaten path. So it's weird, but it'll be out soon. A couple months.
And tonight we are in Toronto, and we're really, really excited. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
That is all that we have.